button. Okay, so welcome everybody for the Spooky2 session. As usual, we ask if anybody has any questions, any comments, anything to share, and that's how we start. So please unmute yourself and ask any question. While you're thinking of questions, I have a question that I've been thinking for some time. So if I do spooky and I use it to heal somebody remote, does the recipient, does he have to believe in alternatives? Or is it really not necessary? It could be somebody who doesn't like it at all. Anything. You think this is all hocus pocus, right? So will it still work on him or her? It won't.
My thinking is that there is enough science behind the process. If it will work, like when I spoke a couple of weeks ago about the study that they did on cells in a petri dish, right, for the remote and the contact method. If it shows appreciable results in cells, it will still have an effect on someone, even if they don't necessarily believe in the technology or they're skeptical. There's been a lot of people that have been very skeptical about it, including people that I have treated, where they weren't particularly sure and they were just appeasing me more than more than anything. I'm like, just give it a try and see. And I've made several Spooky2 converts out of people who didn't think it was going to do anything. So my thought is that it may, intention is very much a part of how spooky works. So obviously, if they really believe that spooky is going to do them well, then it may end up having an even greater effect. But I believe that even if they're not sold on how that spooky is going to work, I believe that it will still have beneficial impact on that person.
All right, so anybody else has any inputs, any comments on this question?
I was wondering whether everybody feels this way or was taught this way. I was taught a long time ago to never use the spooky equipment on anyone that doesn't give me, not to use any of my remote equipment on anybody that has not given me permission. So I didn't quite get the beginning of what you were saying, and so if I was using this equipment on somebody that agreed for me to use the equipment on, I've had 50% success, I would say. But I was using a remote, where I can tell you where I've had success. I was using a remote EMS machine, which was scalar waves, and it was 18 dials. And I was treating myself on that 14 years ago, and I had success because I had 3 major diseases. And between using that particular equipment and doing a bunch of IV and supplements, and for 6 weeks, I was able to overcome those 3 things that I was working on for 14 years.
Wow.
So now I'm trying to learn the spooky as well as I know the remote EMS machine, electromagnetic machine, that I've had for years. And I'm not as successful on the spooky, but I know that it's possible because look at all the people that have had success. So I believe, and I'm looking forward to somebody in this group giving us a good story about their success.
That's a good input, Lanny. I think the point was what you're saying is somebody could agree, yes, please go ahead and use spooky on me, but they may not believe in it. They will think, oh, this is just an electronic generator and this electronic oscillator. I mean, how can it heal me? Should we avoid that kind of person? And because about what Louise was saying, I mean, she has just to, sometimes people just to please you say, yeah, go ahead and use it, but I don't really believe in it. I don't think it'll do anything. But Louise's experience is that it has succeeded even on those kind of people. And they have, some of them have converted into believers from non-believers.
And Lainey is correct. You know, just from an ethical standpoint, Spooky2 does, you know, highly discourages people from treating other people who have not given them express permission to treat them with the Spooky2. And just like anything that is in any kind of alternative treatments or standard Western medical treatments, you need the person's permission before you do any kind of treatment, no matter how harmless that treatment may seem to you. It is still their body, their choice. And so you have to honor that choice. I've run across that a couple of times with people saying, you know, my daughter, my son, my husband, my whatever, you know, they're really, really sick and they won't let me treat them with Spooky. Can I still treat them? And the answer is, well, unfortunately, no. Unless they give you their permission to treat them, then you should not be treating them with the Spooky2. And just like any other treatment, there's all of those stories out there about people who have the power of the placebo effect as well, that may play a part in some of this, you know, where people have turned around, you know, cancer diagnoses that just because they believed in the medication, or they've used their mind to learn how to walk again, you know, these miracle stories that we hear. So that the power of the mind is very, very impactful in any kind of treatment that you do, whether it is standard Western medicine treatment or alternative treatments. The mindset of the person that you're treating is going to have an impact on how their treatment goes.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, that is true. So anybody else, any comments, suggestions, anything to share?
I was hoping to have some other things set up, but my week got away from me. So I don't have any demonstrations set up today, unfortunately. And I don't know if anyone has any questions about, does anyone have any questions on how to set up a biofeedback scan by any chance?
Well, I mean, I would like to know, but I don't have Gen X. I
Right.
have XM, which is a long, tedious process anyway, right? It takes over an hour.
It takes over an hour. When you're setting up the XM generator for biofeedback, along with the pulse, the Spooky Pulse, the Spooky Pulse has to be plugged into a USB port into your computer before you have it set either on your finger or the clamp that's on your ear. And then you also need to set up the pads on, I believe it is the right hand and the inside of the left ankle. So you're hooked up to two separate things in the XM generator when you're running a biofeedback scan for that one. So you have the person lie down and you either do you clip the pulsometer to the ear, or you clip the one that is to the finger, and that is connected to the Spooky Pulse, which I have here. Hang on a second, I'll show you what it looks like. So these are the two things that you would have for the XM generator. So you have the Spooky2 Pulse, which is this, and this hooks into a USB port on your computer. And then you have the connection right here that you would connect the pulse connection, whichever one that you're using. I have two of them here. This is the one for the finger. And so you would just put your finger in there. actually you would put the node. There's a little metal node on the inside that you want to put on the fleshy part of your finger. And then you would hook this into the Spooky Pulse after you have it hooked in.
Right.
Okay, and you also have this one here if you would rather use the ear clip one. This one is the one that has a node in there for the ear that you would connect. So you connect those together, and then you would take like the contacts that you would have, and you put one of these on your right hand and one on the inside of the left ankle, and then hook this up to your XM generator. This is the one that hooks into the generator. And
So
then you would run.
So it's between ear and the finger is either or, right? Not
It's
both.
either or. You don't use both. You just use one or the other because you only have one connection that you can put in the Spooky2 pulsometer that does the biofeedback scan. So, and then you want to lie as still as possible for the time of the scan, which is approximately an hour for the XM generator to do a biofeedback scan. That is one of the benefits of having an XM generator is that there isn't as much chance for you to disrupt the biofeedback scan by moving, coughing, any of those type of things, because the generator X runs, it shoots off a bunch of frequencies, and that's what it goes by. It goes by your body's response to all of the frequencies that are being set into the generator X. And it's, I would say it's more of a, it picks up the more minute response of like a pathogen or something getting destroyed. And so in those quick little bursts, and it can do that in about 12 minutes. Whereas this one with the XM generator is gauging your pulse. So anything like, that disturbs you during that time that you're doing there could cause a spike in your pulse, which could send back a, not necessarily a faulty reading per se. It just means that it would designate that blip in your heart rate as that particular frequency caused that blip, as opposed to you coughing or shifting while you're, lying still. So you could end up getting some frequencies that it says that you need that you don't necessarily need. So not that it's going to harm you at all. It's just that it's not as, not as accurate. Yeah. Not as reliable from my experience anyway.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Another thing was, remember at one time we talked to Siren and he said he has come up with a much more powerful COVID program now.
Yes.
So do we have access to it, or can we?
I have the text file that he has sent, because all of the programs are relatively simple text files for the Spooky2. And I can email that to anyone in the group who is interested in that program. And then all they have to do is
Put it in the preset folder, right?
Put it in the preset folders, yeah. For the user preset folder.
The user folder, yeah. And then just run it. You'll be able to see it, right, in the presets.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you can send it out, that'll be good. Great, yes. Yeah.
So I will, I think you have everyone's email address. So then I will make a note of that and I will send out that.
So Raynon wants it and I want it.
Okay.
Janet also wants it.
Now, for whatever reason, on this COVID program that he has created, the it runs a little bit differently than some of the other programs that he's made before. And for whatever reason, sometimes it's, I don't know if it's that it doesn't want to loop continuously, or he couldn't put the graphene oxide part of the program into, it had to be almost like a chain. It runs the graphene oxide, then it runs the rest of the COVID things that are in there. But yes, I can run that one. Now that one, he sent me, I believe in December. So, but it should, it's been beneficial for everyone that I've run it on so far. So
So it won't, you're saying it won't auto loop? It will just stop after it runs?
I think it after it runs through one time, but I haven't run it in a couple of weeks, so I haven't actually paid attention. But I think, you know what, I think it's fine. I don't know that it wouldn't, but for the most part, quite honestly, you only need to run this particular one once a day instead of 24/7,
Okay.
which is nice. So this one, that was the recommendation, is that it just get run, you know, once a day for like 7 days, for 7 to 10 days for the people who test positive for COVID.
Okay.
So you don't have to run it continuously.
And he was saying that he had put a lot of research into it, and this was very, very effective.
Yeah, it has molecular weight for ivermectin and some other things that are in there, as well as molecular weight for gold and some other stuff that just turned out to test really, really well for most everybody. So yeah.
So what does the molecular weight mean? So when they specify a particular drug for a symptom, so what does it really mean? So that means the frequency has the same effect as that drug would have?
Yes, it's similar to what the drug would have. The molecular weight programs, from what I have experienced and what other people have talked about on the forums and the Facebook pages, is that they're beneficial, but they're not as strong or effective as the medication itself. So it's not something that you want to just all of a sudden go off of your medications and then just take, you know, just do the molecular weight of those particular drugs. It holds the, you know, it's the frequencies that resonate with those particular medications. But again, the prevailing thought is that they're not quite as effective as the medications themselves. They have been, I've read some people saying that it has helped them to reduce their medications. Other people that it has been beneficial to put those into other programs that they make, and so that they get that same similar type of benefit for blood pressure medications and those type of things. But it is not recommended that you go off of your medications and just do the molecular weight of the medication programs to replace them until
Right.
until you find the source behind whatever is causing you to have that need for that medication in the first place, and to correct that physical ailment. Then you'll need to be very careful about your medications.
Okay. All right. So anybody else? I mean, if there's no more questions, because we have a very small group today, we don't have to continue for an hour. We can just finish off at a convenient point. And perhaps a very small group, maybe we should skip a week.
I have a question.
Annie, go ahead.
When I first started running the IBS remotely program preset on my, I mean, it's been on like 2 weeks. I looked at the remote, and the remote had no lights on it, showing that the program was running. But I checked that out, and somebody said and wrote me back and said it's because the numbers were a low frequency. I don't know if it was too high of a frequency or too low of a frequency, but they were all very either high or low, and that doesn't make the lights on the remote go on.
Yeah, this is a very, very common question that people get frequently. They think that their remotes are broken. And in some cases, I wonder if they, if they should just take out the LED lights altogether and not worry about it. Because it is quite, LED lights will only light up within a certain range of frequencies. They have to have a certain electrical input to either turn on, or if it reaches too high of a frequency, it goes too fast for the lights to even go on. Right. It's, you would get that with any kind of light, whether it's an LED light, a regular light bulb, any of those type of things. If you don't have enough power for, an incandescent light bulb, it's not going to come on. If you have too much power, it's going to blow the glass. With an LED light bulb, if you don't have enough power, it's not going to go on. If you have too high of a frequency of power, it's not going to go on either. It doesn't explode. It just kind of reaches the end of its tolerance and it won't go on. So the frequencies that Spooky2 runs, there is a bunch of frequencies at the low end and a bunch of frequencies at the high end that will not turn those lights on in your Spooky2 remote. Like I said, the lights are there. Quite honestly, I think it's more of an aesthetic thing because we want to see some blinky lights that say, hey, yes, it's working. And so we're like, oh, so we're going to put some lights in there. But then when we don't see those lights working, we're like, oh no, it's broken. So no, it is not broken. It is just the nature of the frequencies and the LED lights. And until they come up with LEDs that can handle those low powers and high powers, you're going to have certain times when you're running a program that your remote is just flat out not going to have any lights on them.
That's a good point. So I was thinking about it, and then I said, let me try something. So what happens is, so this really depends on the frequency. If the frequency is very low, 1 cycle, 2 cycle, up to 20, 30 cycle, you'll see the blinking lights. As the frequency goes up, the LED cannot follow the high and the low voltages associated with the wave. So it averages out and the low voltage doesn't drive it as much. But what I did was, over the LED light, I put my hand like this to create darkness there. And then you see like feeble light. There'll always be, even at the very high frequencies, you'll see very little feeble light. I mean, you make it dark enough, you'll see it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. And if you don't see it at all, that means there's something wrong. There's no juice going in there. So I had a situation. So once in a while, we have a cleaning lady who comes in the house and cleans it, and somehow she disturbed something in here. And I came in and I saw there was nothing in the light, and I cupped my hand and I didn't see anything. Then I did the utilities and rescanned it, and then I could see the light there.
Okay.
Yeah, so there'll always be a little bit, very feeble light or whatever it is. So that's what it is, yeah. I'm seeing, it's saying I only have 10 minutes for this meeting left. For some reason, it has taken away the hour. I don't know what's happened, but anyway.
All right, well, maybe it's a good thing that we have a smaller group this week and we're running a little shorter so you can run that down and figure out what's going on. But that's good to know because I'll try that. I'll see when it's not running those frequencies. What I typically do is, I make sure that my generators are, have like the XM generator has the on it. And then I look at my generator X, make sure that the programs are running. And then, but I will look at it now and see if I can see that little tiny bit of a light in there. If it's not shining or flickering on the remote.
Yeah, it's the same principle as a television. Television, you see, it's all flickering, or the movie, right? I mean, in the old movie projectors, they used to be one clip at a time and used to go at 50 hertz, 50 cycles. but the eye cannot follow 50 cycles. So that's why it looked like continuous motion on a movie projector or on a television, but it's actually everything is flickering. Even television, everything is flickering. These are all small dots. So that's what this happens. But
Okay, so I will talk to you and see if we want to go, I mean, every other week, maybe. Would that be
yeah,
better
let's
for
try
everyone?
that. Let's skip next week and we can meet after next week.
Okay,
We get a lot of requests that we should meet, then it's a different thing, then we think about it. But for now, let's skip a week.
okay. And then we'll give that a try and then go every other week and see if that is beneficial for everyone. That'll also give us a chance to maybe put some feelers out for people and see what questions they want to,
Be addressed, yeah.
to be addressed each meeting. So we have something more to go on.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right. So I guess if there's nothing else, we can just call it a day today and meet
And
the week after next.
Thank you.
all right. Well,
Thank
thank you,
you.
everyone. And I know I'm
Okay.
sorry that this is kind of a short one today, but I did enjoy seeing everybody.
Yep. Okay.
We'll talk to you guys
Okay.
later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.